Hello everyone, Phantoms Y here. We are back with some more G-Senjou no Maou. So, last time, we found out that Tsubaki's younger brother, what was it, Hiroaki, I think? It's been a few days. But anyway, he's been kidnapped by Maou. And so, Kyosuke, Eiichi, and Usami just found out that as well. And thus, without further ado, let's continue. Afterward, the three of us left. For now, we'll wait for the kidnapper to call again. Usami and I parted at the Eastern District's park. On the way back, Usami didn't say a single word. She seemed to be thinking that whole time. Come to think of it, weren't you pretty quiet that whole time?
おいおい、俺くらい空気を読める男になるとよ、なんつうの、さすがに無駄口を叩かないっつうの。
Actually, I think you're just about the most oblivious guy I know. Anyway, keep your mouth shut about this.
あってるって、ペットにすら言わねえよ。
Suddenly, Eiichi stopped in his tracks.
しかし、椿のやつ、大丈夫かね。
What's this all of a sudden?
いやよ、さすがに誘拐って、マジサスペンスドラマかよっての。
It came as a shock to me, too.
なんか、俺にできることないんかね。なんだよ、なんか変なこと言ったか？
It's just... Don't you usually treat younger women like bitches?
メス豚でも、俺ペット好きだし。
I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but it seems like even Eiichi is worried about Tsubaki.
帰るわ。
Yeah.
そうだ、椿にプリンでも買ってやるか。うん、あいつは単純そうだから、そんなもんでも喜ぶだろ。
He leaves mumbling to himself. Alright, I still have things to take care of. No rest for the wicked. But before that, I need to pay Gonzo a visit. I need to give me the name of a good loaner. I await the train to the Southern District. Still, even someone like Eiichi is a good person at heart. What about me? After arriving at Gonzo's house, I explained the circumstances. So in summary, if this Miwa Tsubaki's household uses its land as collateral for the loan, everything will be dealt with tidily. Therefore, could you introduce me to someone who could prepare 50 million right away? Gonzo didn't agree to anything. He just held his dignified posture. What do you think, Father? Father? His heavy mouth remained shut. Feeling a little scared, I gulped.
誘拐か。犯罪だな。
Yes.
警察に届けてもいいんだぞ。
His words were hiding something, and his voice held a coercive tone.
通報すれば、県警本部から捜査一課は特殊犯捜査係の刑事がやってくる。連中は誘拐対策のプロだ。誘拐ほど失敗の許されない事件捜査はないと叩き込まれている。すぐさま捜査本部が敷かれ、300人体制で捜査に臨むだろう。逆探知や音声解析などの技術的な進歩も目覚ましいし、何よりここの県警は警視庁との連携もうまくいっている。まず間違いなく犯人は上がる。
He's saying this calmly, as if he's directly seen into the inner workings of the police. Indeed, that's why I absolutely want to prevent any police intervention. As long as the kidnapper takes the money, they have to move away. When I said that, my mood turned sour.
いいんだな。
What do you mean?
犯罪を容認するというのだな。
It's as if he saw right through the hesitation in my heart. Well...
誘拐は最も卑劣な犯罪だ。何の罪もない市民を人質に取り、理不尽な要求を突きつける。人質が5歳の幼児ともなればなおさらだ。
What's he getting at?
いいんだな、京介。
A chill went through my spine. I understand. Gonzo's testing me. He's questioning my conscience, testing my capacity as his livestock. That thought cleared my mind. To be honest, I'm a bit hesitant. At that moment, a heavy gust of wind suddenly blew past me. Sparks flew before my eyes. Ah! My vision suddenly went white. An acidic taste filled the inside of my mouth. I couldn't move. It was like the strength to maintain my body was leaking out through all of my pores. A sharp pain ran through my head. Did he pull me up by my hair? His cold eyes were bottomless. I was terrified. My whole body froze. Even the blood in my veins iced over. Confusion, agitation, any negative emotion you can name, I'm feeling that right now. I don't know what he's talking about. The only thing I could comprehend was his menace. Now that you mention it. Bearing such an intense pressure, I slowly pieced together the events that happened that day. I'm pretty sure there was a time when Tsubaki got tricked by a scout on Central Boulevard. I used the Asahi's corporation's name and instructed him not to lay a finger on Tsubaki. He violently shakes my head. He finally releases me. Yes. Yes.
お前の親の借金をお前が返すんだ。
Yes.
いく
200 million. My father's, Samejima Toshikatsu's debt. It was only 50 million at the time, but it had a hell of an interest rate attached and swelled up like a snowball.
ならとっとと稼げ。たかが2億だ。
That's right. I followed Gonzo in order to pay back my father's debt. Everyone who knows about that says, what an amazing child to do such a thing for his father. But it's no such beautiful story. Paying back money to the Yakuza requires severe life-or-death tactics and bargaining. 200 million yen. This isn't some amount you can casually deposit into a bank. And the longer I wait, the more interest it will accumulate. I understand. The sense of terror rapidly lessened. The need for money has gotten to the point where I've consciously or consensually sold my soul. This accursed attachment to the money pushes me on. There's still only 50 million yen in my safe. I will not fail. Satisfied with my answer, Gonzo deeply nods.
よし。人間の顔になった。
Of livestock, is what he really means. Well, I guess technically from Gonzo's perspective, though, it's those who are used that are the livestock, right? Those that are the users are humans. I think that was his philosophy. Anyway, I finally have the resolve. No longer will I think about Tsubaki. I can only walk my own path. Of course, I know that my path leads to hell. Perhaps it's because of all the excitement, but my head started to hurt. After leaving Gonzo's place, I stumbled towards Central Boulevard. My consciousness was muddled. I let the headache run its course. My headache's finally gone. My mind is clearing up. This complex, connected sensation felt akin to that of passing the baton off to someone else. It's only recently that I've become aware of the existence of Azai Kyosuke, my other half. When I, Maou, am not acting openly, Azai Kyosuke works to support me. This only strengthens my belief that this kidnapping plan will surely succeed. So doesn't that all but confirm that Kyosuke is Maou? Now then, I dial a number on my phone. Needless to say, That number belonged to Tsubaki's residence. Someone picked up immediately. You didn't contact the police, did you? Although I'm confident in my ability to change my voice to a certain extent, I still use a voice changer to be extra certain. It would be incredibly troublesome if my natural voice was analyzed. The police might already be at their house, tracing this call literally as we speak.
してません。
Really?
はい、本当です。
Good. And then, I hung up. I'm not stupid enough to just trust someone else's words. I know that it takes about 3 minutes to successfully trace a call. When the criminal places a call, the detectives can contact the technical staff at the telephone company and run a check on all the circuits governing the area containing Tsubaki's house. Then, by confirming the status on a certain switchboard, they can specify the caller's location. If the length of the call is sufficient, they can detect anywhere from a general range within which the call is being made to calculate the specific phone number used. Also, if the criminal calls from the same area as the victim's family, it takes much less time to search the circuits. But if it's long distance, which requires several switchboards to route the call, it would take longer to trace the number. However, if the call goes by way of the recent electronic digital switchboards, they'll know where it came from in an instant. So I took the safest possible course of action. Just now, I placed the call from my cell phone. Since I was moving during the call, even if the police have my specific location, I'll have gotten away before they can rush over here. This cell phone itself is a disposable model, so it'd be meaningless to confirm the owner. Once more, I dialed the number for Tsubaki's house.
もしもし、三輪です。
After this, I'll call 2 more times. Before then, be sure to prepare pen and paper. She's probably flustered from the sudden direction. You're not allowed to ask any questions. Understand?
許さないって。ヒロアキはヒロアキの声を聞かせてください。
I cut the connection. If there is a detective next to Tsubaki, he should instruct her to draw out the call. Why would a kidnapper actually acquiesce to such demands? Anyway, I should change my location. I don't think these short conversations will allow them to track my location, but there's no harm in being extra careful. I'm now near my home. This place should use a different switchboard to route the call. No matter what, I must prevent the police from interfering. I call on my cell phone. Again, I hear Tsubaki's crying voice.
もしもし、ヒロアキは無事なんですか？
I already told her the questions were not permitted, but I guess she's too worried to care right now. Before instructing you on how to hand over the ransom money, I'll say this one more time. I persistently repeated the same command. Don't contact the police. If there's any sign of police presence, I'll cancel the trade, and your brother won't come back. Do you understand? Not having the police involved is an absolute condition. Why do kidnappers on TV and in mystery novels always try to fight the police? Naturally, it's to make the stories more entertaining. But in real life, no kidnapper has managed to successfully escape the police with the ransom. No crime carries more risk than kidnapping. If I even find a trace of the police, I'll cancel the trade. That's what I've decided. The most crucial point in performing a successful crime is understanding when to pull back.
警察には連絡してません。だから弟を返して。
Her painful cry grated my ears. If she's lying, then she must be a top-level actress. Very good. In that case, wait for my next phone call. I break off the connection while continuing forward. I'll change my location again. Silence blankets the shoreline at night. They ought to be growing impatient right about now. This is the last confirmation. When someone picked up, I didn't use the voice changer. Instead, I just changed my own pitch. Hello? Is this the Miwa residence?
はい。
I'm Takano of the Special Investigations Unit. Can I speak to Detective Tomita? There was a pause. I focus all my attention to my ear. Well, Officer Tomita should be the female officer in charge of on-site investigations there. I can hear hectic noises in the backdrop.
なんだって？何の話だ？
That exchange satisfied me. From Tsubaki's reaction, it was very hard to imagine a detective standing next to her. I used the voice changer again. Looks like you did as I said, and didn't contact the police. If you had said something like, "Hold on a second," your brother would have left the world by now. The police would never call a family victimized by kidnapping in order to get in contact with a coworker. Naturally, they're provided with special wireless phones to keep in contact. This is indeed a cheap trick that anyone in their right mind would quickly see through, but for someone in Tsubaki's state of mind, it's more than enough as a test. That's good. Make sure you keep it up. Though after getting a glimpse of the special gift you should be receiving shortly, I doubt you'll even think about contacting the police anyway. I ignore her question. Now then, I'm going to start explaining how to hand over the ransom money. Do you have a pen and paper ready? Now that I know I'm not being traced, I can speak freely. First, prepare the ransom as stock certificates. Change the 50 million into stocks before tomorrow evening. Buy shares of a company called Shiratori Construction. Oh, it's, well, obviously Shiratori's company, but what was her first name? I'm drawing a blank. Oh, well, the chick at school who hates Kyosuke. Her company, her dad's company. It's one of Sano Corporation's subsidiaries, and the company which runs your school. 50 million yen should get you 50,000 shares. Due to her experience with diary writing, Tsubaki jots down the directions with incredible speed. After you've prepared the 50 million in stock certificates, please have Usami Haru stand in front of your house at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. I will contact Usami Haru on her cell phone with your next instructions. She seems desperate to write this down. These directions probably make no sense at all to Tsubaki, but she'll find out soon enough. That is all. If I don't see Usami Haru by 6 o'clock, the deal is off. As long as you follow my directions, I'll return your brother to you. I'm a professional kidnapper. I'll keep my promise if I receive my money. Do you understand? I give her a little enticement at the very end. I plan on designating Tsubaki to hand over the ransom. But before that, I need to make sure Tsubaki will follow my orders absolutely. After breaking off the call, I stroll down the seaside. There's no one around. The air is quite chilly. The mood gently rocks back and forth on the water's surface. Up to this point, it's been perfect. And my headache starts is not even there. My headache acts up yet again. Herp-a-derp. Continuing on. First thing the next morning, my cell phone suddenly rang. Still dazed and sleepy, I woke up. Tsubaki? What time is it? It seems like Tsubaki has been trying to reach me for a while now. The sun hasn't even risen yet. I got home at around 2 this morning. That means I only slept for 2 hours. What is it? Slow down. Calm down. Calm down and say it slowly. My head still hurt from being awoken by this racket. Wait, stocks? Not cash? Which stock? That's right. Shiratori's father is the director of our school. But why Shiratori Construction? And Usami is supposed to wait in your yard this evening?
株券が用意できたらそうしろって。
Why Usami? I don't understand what this guy's thinking at all, but I can guess why you called. You want me to take care of the money.
そうなんだよ。お父さんは株とかそういうの疎いみたいで、銀行からお金を借りたこともない人だから。
I see. Did you call the police?
絶対しないよ。
In almost a scream. Huh? Did something else happen?
夜の10時くらいにね、宅配が届いたの。
I have a bad feeling about this. What was inside? Tsubaki spoke as softly as the buzz of a mosquito. It was almost inaudible.
ヒロアキの写真と
A photo?
それと髪の毛。
I'm actually... Whenever I think of, a package arrived and, kidnapping and all that, it always makes me think back to Chaos Head. Because to me, that was the most chilling part of Chaos Head. I won't spoil it if you've never played Chaos Head, but there is a point in that game where a package arrives for the protagonist, and it is completely chilling. Absolutely a scene worth going out of your way to see if you're interested in that sort of, mystery, psychological horror that game excels at in the early parts of the game.
これって警察に連絡したら次はもっとひどいことをするっていう意味だと思う。
Yes, that's exactly what he's saying. But hair isn't such a big deal. I thought that it'd be a finger or something.
だから警察の人は頼れないから、もうどうしたらいいかわからなくなっちゃって、それで浅井君に。
I got it. I'll try to work things out on the money side.
ありがとう。
Tomorrow, wait, today I guess. We need 50,000 shares by this evening, right? To do that, we need 51,000 share stock certificates. We need to make the purchase before noon. But can we even get 50,000 shares?
難しそうなの？
I'm pretty sure you'd need more than 50 million yen.
いくら必要なの？
I'll go ahead and check Shiratori Construction's closing price from last weekend after this call. But yeah, including broker fees and miscellaneous charges, 50 million probably won't be enough.
お父さんに聞いたんだけど、1000万くらいは貯金あるんだって。
Wow. To have such a huge family and still maintain this amount in savings means he's really been working hard. Got it. Then we'll just have to get 50 million.
できそう？
It shouldn't be a problem. I already brought it up yesterday.
銀行から借りるの？
No, from a branch company of my father's. If we barged into a bank and asked for 50 million yen, there's no way we'd get the money, especially not before noon. However, it would be possible if the police were there. Alright, I'll be over in a bit. Please have your father prepare the deed and his seal. I finished it in one breath.
どっち？
Yeah,
それってどういうこと？
I'm sorry, but this is the only way.
どっちをどうするの？
50 million isn't a small sum. If you don't put up any collateral, you won't be able to get the loan.
それってもし私たちがお金を返せなかったらどう？
The land will belong to your lender. Tsubaki interrupted me.
出ていくしかないってこと？
Yes,
そんな別の方法はないのかな？
I can imagine how uneasy that would make her. Well, if you loaned money to someone else, but they couldn't promise to pay it back, would you still give them the money?
それはその人が信用できそうなら。
I'm digging my own grave here. Tsubaki would loan money to people sleeping on the street.
あ、ごめんね。浅井君を頼ってるのに言うこと聞かないで。
Don't worry about it. This is all such a shock. I am sure you're panicking right now. I went straight to the point. Anyway, it doesn't need to be asked whether you choose your land or your brother's life. You can't buy a life with money, after all. It wasn't a line that came easy to me.
分かったよ。お父さんに相談してみる。
You have to contact me by 7 in the morning at the latest. If you're any later than that, I can't guarantee that I can get the money.
いろいろありがとう、浅井くん。
No problem.
少し安心したよ。頼れる人がいるって素敵なことだね。
Ouch! She's probably smiling on the other end of the line.
なんか勇気づけられたよ。それじゃあね。
The call disconnected. I don't feel any emotion. The development of the Eastern District is an important job entrusted to me by the Sino Corporation. That's the only thing I should think about. But still, stocks. I should go and ask someone who's familiar with it. Hello, this is Azai. I'm sorry about calling at this time. Yes, I wanted to get your input on something. The moment I mentioned Shiratori construction, his reaction changed. It's best to avoid it? Yes. The price is going down? You don't know the reason. So if the price drops any more... In this case, getting 50,000 shares isn't going to be hard at all. Thank you very much. Yes, Father wishes the best for you as well. Still, I wonder what's going on with Shiratori construction. The Shiratori girl's face flashed right before my eyes. That arrogant attitude, that forceful demeanor, and those pleading eyes. It has nothing to do with me. I walked back into my study. The tension is great, isn't it? This game, many visual novels are really good about sort of establishing tension, right? But one thing I think the G-Senjou is really good at is maintaining that tension for a lengthy period of time. Lots of visual novels, they build, and they have this really tense scene, and, then it has that falling action type thing where, okay, now it's time to, build to another big scene. G-Senjou, its climaxes are so long that you have this tension that just rises and rises for a really long period. And the thing is that there's numerous chapters to it, and if I recall at least, they're all at least pretty good at maintaining that. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. In the end, Tsubaki accepted my help. After putting the land and his son's life on opposite sides of the scale, her stubborn father finally gave in. Ever since this morning, I've been running around, gathering the money. The 50 million was received effortlessly. I talked to Gonzo beforehand, told him my plans, and the collateral was accepted without a hitch. Tsubaki's father borrowed the 50 million and the Miwa family's entire savings and put it all into a newly opened account at the stock exchange. The certificates for the 50,000 shares could be delivered before evening. On the way to Tsubaki's house, my headache struck once more. Maybe it's because I'm working too much.
Azai-san, 大丈夫ですか?
What?
頭痛そうっすけど。
I'm fine.
そうっすか? なんかいつもと顔つきが違うような気がしますが。
Do I not?
ええ、まるで悪魔に魂でも売ったみたいな。気のせいっすかね?
My soul was pawned off a long time ago. Everything's going according to plan. The ransom must be delivered successfully. Damn it, Usami. I won't let you interfere.
それにしても、どうして私なんでしょうかね?
6 o'clock rolled around. In accordance with instructions, Usami was standing in front of Tsubaki's front door. How am I supposed to know? I'm curious myself. Usami looked around, so anxious that she couldn't sit still.
っていうか、どうして浅井さんも私と一緒にいるんですか?
Who cares? I know I'm being persistent about this, but I'm here to keep an eye out for the police. For instance, if some of the neighbors grew suspicious, there would be a chance that they might call the authorities. I pretended to chat with Usami while on alert for an unmarked police car or detective on stakeout.
まあいいです。せっかくですし、ちょっと考えませんか？
Okay, so I predict she's about to launch into some crazy theory that will pretty much almost be spot on. What, our future together? I was just joking, but Usami's face turned darker.
やけに陽気ですね。友達が大変な目に遭っているというのに。
That's exactly why I'm acting like this. If we were depressed, how would she get through this herself?
たとえ冗談だとしても、私のことを鬱陶しく思っている浅井さんの冗談にしては、ちょっと違和感ですね。
Sorry that it wasn't funny.
まあいいです。ところで、魔王はどうして身代金を現金ではなく株券で要求してきたんだと思いますか？
Wait, did you just say Maou?
はい、
The kidnapper is that Maou?
おそらく。
Well, she's involved, so it stands to reason, right? Any evidence?
犯人は次の指示を私の携帯電話に入れてくると言ったそうじゃないですか。
Otherwise, why would she get involved, right? Interesting.
私が携帯を持っていることを知っているのは魔王だけです。
Oh, okay. Well,
魔
that
王が
pretty much
私の
seals the
携帯
deal.
電話をよこしたんですから。
Forgot about that. Not bad at all. I spoke, feigning disinterest. I know too, you know.
え？何がです？
A stupid look surfaced on her face. The fact that you have a cell phone.
いや、持ってないって言いませんでしたっけ？セントラル街で貸してくださいって頼んだこともありましたよね。
Is your mind somewhere else today? Didn't you have a warm-up match with Maou a couple of days ago? You told me yourself. Are you listening?
ああ、そうでしたね。忘れてました。そうか、浅井さんも知ってますね。そうかそうか。
As she nods her head, her piercing eyes let loose a bizarre gleam.
まあついでに言うと、さっきからずっと辺りを監視しているんですが、誰も現れませんね。車すら通りません。
I know what Usami wants to say. This woman is something else. Are you trying to say that I'm Maou?
ああ、いえいえ、そんなつもりじゃないんですよ。例えば、こちらが気づけない位置から望遠鏡か何かで探られているとか。
Oh,
そ
no,
ういう
no.
可能性もありますからね。
That's not what I'm getting at all. Don't be offended. I love it. Hey, don't we have an agreement never to suspect each other?
ええ、もちろんです。浅井さんは潔白ですよ。
Despite what she said, I can only take this to be her suspecting me.
しかし魔王って学園生じゃないかなとかノリで思うことあるんすよね。
Oh?
まああくまでノリですけどね。
You mean there's no evidence?
ええ、誘拐電話も夜にかかってきたそうですし、私と軽くやり合ったのも日曜日でした。
That really is a wild guess. Wouldn't Mao have a similar schedule if he was working an office job?
ああ、そっか。それもそうっすよね。しかも魔王は金持ちですもんね。
This girl.
人を使って街の至るところに落書きを残したり、ヒロアキ君を誘拐するのにもきっと車を使ったでしょう。さらに言えば、身代金を株券で要求してくるあたり、相場の知識もあるみたいですしね。そんな学園生いるわけないですよね。
Never. Oh, wait. I can't help but laugh.
どうしました？
No, no. I was just thinking that you, Usami, are a very interesting person.
マジっすか？自分人に褒められるの慣れてないんで、あんまり甘やかさないでもらえますか？
I was reminded of the reason for my desire to thoroughly crush her. Can we get back to the main topic?
ああ、はいはい。身代金を株券で要求してきた件ですね。
What do you think?
さあ。
Don't feign ignorance. You must have seen something in it. Let me see just how good you are.
まず考えられるのは、持ち運びが簡単だからでしょう。現金で5000万だと、1万円札が5000枚も必要です。けれど、株券ならたったの50枚にしかなりません。
With only a few exceptions, stock certificates come in units of 1,000 shares. If we have 50,000 shares, then there are only 50 certificates. Makes sense. Since this guy's planning on taking the ransom and hightailing it out of there, he wanted the goods to be as light as possible.
しかしですね、単に軽くしたいだけなら他にいくらでも方法はあるはずなんです。
For instance,
ダイヤモンドのような貴金属の類に変えさせるとか。しかもなぜ白鳥建設の株券なんでしょうね。
Don't know. Maybe the criminal believes Shiratori Construction's stock will go up in value. Usami heaved a sigh.
妙なことはまだあります。たった1日で5000万円を工面させて、さらに夕方には株券に変えさせるというのも、椿家のような一般家庭にはタイトな要求です。犯人は椿たちが株券を用意できなかったらどうするつもりだったんでしょうね。あるいは用意できるという確信があったのか。どう思います？
Seems reasonable. I don't know. Maybe he thought that they'd try their hardest no matter what, since it's their child on the line. Usami doesn't seem to agree.
警察が関与しているなら身代金の工面にも便宜を図ってくれたでしょう。しかし魔王は警察には絶対に連絡しないよう忠告しています。
Obviously, not too many kidnappers want to fight the police.
浅井さんがいなければお金の用意は無理だったでしょうね。
Probably. The culprit must have thoroughly researched everyone connected to the family. Usami's eyes blinked twice, 3 times, and finally closed tightly.
浅井さん。これは直感ですがね。
She opened her eyes.
私はこの誘拐事件は私に対する挑発なんじゃないかと思っています。
Oh?
でなければ私の携帯電話に次の連絡を入れてくるという理由がわかりません。
She's right. If he wanted to, he could easily confine his contact to the Miwa family alone. Well, it's about time for me to head out.
帰る？
Sorry, but I still have things to take care of.
そうですか。いつ戻られます？
I've got things going on until tomorrow evening.
それはもちろん椿の危機よりも優先される用事なんですよね。
Don't say it like that. Even if I stay, what can I do?
わかりません。ただ椿は浅井さんを頼りにしていますよ。
Alright. Just contact me if something happens.
はい、真っ先に。
I turned around. Usami kept her vigil in the front of the door, her thoughts racing. Okay, what needs to be done next? Tsubaki sat on the floor with knees bent, sighing out her feelings of tension and despair. Her brother had been kidnapped for 2 days now, but to Tsubaki, it already felt like an eternity. She's taking time off of school by pretending to be sick. Even though lying hurts like a knife in her heart, she can't tell the school the truth. Her father spoke, a haggard expression adorning his features.
私よりお母さんは大丈夫？
Her mother isn't feeling well. When she heard of the kidnapping 2 nights ago, she fainted on the spot. 3 of her siblings are sleeping in another room. When they learned of Hiroaki's absence, they screamed and cried. Even though they'd been told that Hiroaki is at their grandmother's house, the kids are sharp. They've probably noticed the gravity of the situation through the heavy atmosphere. This family used to be cheerful, always full of smiles. The mother, physically weak, but good at cooking. The children, always arguing about this or that. The father, stubborn on the outside, but fond of doting on his daughter. Why did this have to happen? The sighing won't stop. This misfortune is just cruel. Why did the kidnapper pick us? And why Hiroaki? What could be happening to him right now, as I sit here? If I could, I would take his place. Even so, Tsubaki has already decided not to show weakness before her family or the culprit. Right now, the ones in the most pain are her father, who gave up his most prized land, and her mother, who had the child that she carried for 9 months taken away.
来た。
The sound of a cell phone mingled with Haru's low voice as it echoed around the narrow family room. What's the culprit trying to achieve, calling Haru's phone? Tsubaki watched Haru. She brought the cell to her ear in a calm fashion. Her expression was dignified. She was no longer the Usami Haru Tsubaki had met at school, her timid back hunched over like a willow branch.
魔王だな。
Haru suddenly spoke. What does Maou mean? Not even an iota of humor accompanied Haru's absurd question. Tsubaki, on the other hand, was completely confused. What are they talking about? Tsubaki's mind is immersed in chaos. This interaction makes it sound like Haru and the kidnapper know each other.
わかった。椿に変わる。
Having her name suddenly called almost made Tsubaki jump out of her skin.
私？変われと言っている。以後その携帯は椿のものらしい。
Haru handed over the phone after finishing the sentence. Tsubaki gulped. She took the phone, still on the line. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably. She has to speak with the kidnapper once again. Closing her eyes, she pulled the phone up to her ear.
もしもし。椿です。
The voice was different. This wasn't a robotic voice like before, but the unadulterated voice of a man.
何のつもりですか？
警察に連絡しないでいてくれてとても感謝している。椿とは紳士的な取引ができそうだ。
It was a strange feeling. The kidnapper was addressing her by her first name.
身代金は用意しました。次は何をすればいいんですか？
いいぞ。私の言うことをきちんと守っていれば、弟は必ず返す。
Maou then gave her his next instructions.
まず、その携帯電話の充電が切れないよう注意しろ。電気屋かコンビニエンスストアなどで即席の充電器を用意しろ。ちゃんと型が合うものを購入するんだ。
Tsubaki quickly opened her diary and wrote down the instructions.
セントラル街に大和屋という大きなデパートがあるのは知っているか？
Facing a sudden question, Tsubaki sank into confusion.
わかると思います。
デパートの3階にカバンを売っている店がある。
はい。
明日の午前中、そこで一番安いアタッシュケースを買え。1万円もあれば買えるはずだ。
ケース。
She wrote furiously, not having even a second to question the kidnapper.
無事に購入できたら、50枚の株券を封筒に詰め、ケースの中に入れて私に連絡をしろ。電話番号は今椿が手にしている携帯に入っている。
After writing everything down thoroughly, Tsubaki finally got a chance to take a breath. Tsubaki thought to herself, why does he want me to do all these roundabout things? I didn't call the police, and I'll give him the ransom just like he wants. So please, just return my brother. The thoughts in her heart slipped out.
お金払いますから。ちゃんと払いますから。です。
The kidnapper interrupted her.
弟はちゃんと返す。
はい。
ただ、私は取引に万全を期したいだけだ。明日になってお前がいきなり警察に連絡しないという保証があるのか？
しないです。
She instinctively yelled a response.
どうして信じてくれないんですか？
逆に聞きたいのだ。どうして信じることができるんだ？
しないものはしないからです。
Laughter came from the other end of the line.
なあ、椿よ。
A voice almost like a whisper swirled around her ears.
お前は面白い
何がですか？
な。お前が無条件で他人を信じるのは勝手だが、それを私にも押し付けないでもらおうか。
言っている意味がよくわかりません。
大したものだ。私はお前のような人間は好きだぞ。
Tsubaki was speechless. Not a single word would come out. The culprit spoke again to the befuddled Tsubaki.
父親にするか決めかねていたが、やはり受け渡しには椿を指名するとしよう。
The exchange. That means the role of bringing the ransom tomorrow has fallen onto Tsubaki's shoulders.
では明日、お前に会えるのを楽しみにしている。
Just when she was about to tell him to wait, she was greeted by the steady tone of a dropped call. Extreme fatigue attacked her. Haru looked at Tsubaki's face with probing eyes.
大丈夫か？
平気だよ、おはるちゃん。
犯人はなんて？
Tsubaki flipped through her diary and repeated everything to Haru. Haru silently listened to Tsubaki's doddering explanation.
携帯の充電器はあるぞ。
Haru passed it over as she spoke.
この携帯電話はもともと犯人からもらったものなんだ。
ずっと持ってたの？
私にとって唯一の証拠品だからな。いつかかってきてもいいように充電は絶やさないようにしておいた。そして
Oops. Tsubaki tilted her head and asked a question.
魔王？
そう、魔王だ。
魔王っていう人が犯人なの？
ああ、
Haru nodded.
知り合いなの？
Haru hesitated for a moment at Tsubaki's question.
知り合いというわけではないが、椿は声に聞き覚えがなかったか？
声？
犯人の声だ。
Tsubaki reflected one more time. The kidnapper's baritone was full of allure, full of confidence.
いや、わかんないな。
どこかで聞いたことがないか？
そう言われても。
She rarely hears the voices of men. The only impressionable one belongs to Azai Kyosuke. When Kyosuke talks on the phone, he sometimes uses an oppressively cold tone, a tone which frightens her into a cold sweat. Almost unable to stop herself from saying Kyosuke's name, Tsubaki started to panic. Azai can't be the kidnapper. A wave of embarrassment suddenly assailed her. If Kyosuke hadn't helped her, her family might not even have the ransom right now. And he even talked to them about the land. Kyosuke might come off like a lazy playboy, but he's actually a gentle, reliable person. As that thought sprang to Tsubaki's mind, it was accompanied by an image of Kyosuke's face as he's passionately going off about classical music. A fire burned in her chest.
まあいい。ところで、明日は私も協力させてもらいたいんだが。
Tsubaki, trapped in a dream, was suddenly pulled back to reality.
犯人を捕まえる。
Haru stated her resolution. Tsubaki's father, who had been silent up until now, took that as a cue to speak.
捕まえるって
The man stood up with great effort.
それはお金を渡さないっていうことかい？
極力渡したくはありません。
Hearing this, Tsubaki became flustered.
ダメだよ、ちゃんと渡さないとヒロアキが。
The kidnapper promised. If they follow his orders, he'll release Hiroaki. Just as Tsubaki was going to question Haru, her father held out a hand to stop her.
椿、ちょっと落ち着きなさい。
Haru lowered her head slightly.
驚かせてすまない、椿。
私こそ取り乱して。
Haru gave Tsubaki a reassuring smile.
宇佐美さんと言ったね。
春でいいですよ、お父さん。
捕まえるって君がかい？
ええ。お金も、ヒロアキ君も帰ってくる。それが最高の形だと思っています。
確かに犯人さえ捕まえれば全てうまくいくよ。けれど僕らは警察すら頼らないことに決めたんだ。
犯人の言いなりになるということですね。
Haru looked as though she disapproved of the thought.
確かに犯人は大した人物です。幼児を誘拐し、紙を送りつけてくるという残虐性と、身代金を株券で要求するという奇想天外な発想の持ち主です。
What is she trying to say? Tsubaki wasn't able to concern herself with the criminal's personality. In her mind, simply the act of kidnapping alone made him nothing but an object of fear.
そうだよ。そんな凶悪な犯罪者をどうやって捕まえるというんだい。
Tsubaki's father was right.
犯人がどれほど頭の回る人物だとしても、ただ一点姿を現さなければならない瞬間があります。
それは
身代金ダッシュの時です。正体不明の犯人ですが、用意した株券を椿から受け取る時には顔を見せざるを得ないはずです。
Indeed, the criminal has even said that he wants to meet Tsubaki. She may actually end up coming face to face with him. Tsubaki's father shook his head.
宇佐美さん、前に君が言った通り、身代金を渡せば弘明が帰ってくるという保証は。
私はむしろ身代金を渡したが最後、弘明君は戻らないとまで考えています。
なんで？約束が違うじゃない。
Tsubaki interrupted, and Haru stared at her.
犯人にとって人質とはリスクの塊だからだ。解放した後、犯人の顔や声を覚えていて、監禁されていた場所を警察に話すかもしれない。
浅井君といい、宇佐美さんといい、椿の友達はただものじゃないな。
Her father smiled weakly. A ferocious battle was waging in his chest. If the police aren't called, and the criminal's orders are followed, it would mean losing the land that he's protected up until now. This is the first time that Tsubaki has seen her father in so much pain.
正直どうしていいのかわからないんだ。今すぐにでも受話器を掴んで警察を頼りたい気持ちもある。ただそれをやると確実に弘明は帰ってこないんじゃないかという恐怖も大きい。
お察しします。
椿は宇佐美さんの意見には反対なんだな。
Facing her father's inquiry, Tsubaki hesitated on her reply. A feeling similar to guilt began to sprout within her. Rather than her friend Haru, she chose to follow the instructions of this cruel, faceless criminal.
はるちゃん。
Haru averted her eyes.
私に人の家庭の事情に口を挟む権利なんてない。ずけずけと勝手なことばっかり言って本当にごめん。
Tsubaki felt pricks of pain probe her chest. The girl who calls herself a hero was only proposing to others what she felt was the best course of action. Tsubaki wanted to at least take her feelings into consideration. After much agonizing deliberation, Tsubaki finally spoke up.
お父さん、ごめん。やっぱり警察は怖いよ。だって私は犯人の声を直接聞いてきたもの。
He nodded deeply.
でもはるちゃんの言うことも合っているように思う。犯人を捕まえたいとも思う。
椿。
だからはるちゃんには自由にしてほしいな。
Tsubaki's smile was clearly answered with Haru's.
ありがとう。
魔王をやっつけるのが勇者様でしょ。
Her father also gave a satisfied smile.
明日は大丈夫か、椿。お前の身も心配だ。できるなら代わってやりたいが。
いいよ、お父さん。ありがとう。
Tsubaki's father relied on her. She realized recently that, as the eldest child, she's always been the family's center.
よし、じゃあ子供たちを起こしておいで。ご飯にしよう。
自分も一緒させてもらえると食費が浮いて大変嬉しいのですが。
Because now is the perfect time to invite yourself over.
もちろんだよ。みんなで食べよう。
すいません、厚かましくて。
The night grew deeper. Even from within the dark, wintry abyss that had been thrust upon this family, a single flower finally bloomed. But that is a story for another day and the next episode. So, as always, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you're enjoying it, and I will see you all next time.